So thank you guys for joining me on the silent rounds. We're going to be looking out the window a lot, guys, because Daniel Sam's just on these kids out front. So since you've both been called out, you saw the last podcast that we both got called out. I'm going to get you to introduce yourself for those that may not know who you are. We'll start with.
So what's the name of the podcast?
On the silent rounds. That's it.
Silent rounds.
Yeah, the silent rounds.
Why is silent rounds?
Introduce yourself, and I'll explain the silent rounds.
You call it the silent rounds, and then want me to start talking.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy into the silent.
You keep quiet, get me. You keep quiet.
Okay, so the reason I'm talking about the silent rounds is because in the world of combat, predominantly boxing, I like Muay Thai as well. But in the combat world, no one talks about what actually goes into stepping into the ring. They only see the people that's behind the gloves. They don't even see the human that's attached to the person that's within the gloves. And as we all know as coaches and ex-competitors, that the mindset is first and foremost. So it's the silent rounds that I'm trying to engage in.
Okay, the loud silence.
The loud silence,
okay.
yeah.
The internal mental loud silence.
So have I now earned an introduction as to who?
Oh, we're getting there,
We're going to get there.
Yeah. All right. Daniel Sam.
Woo!
Black Diamond Gym,
Okay.
for those who don't know.
A little bit about yourself. So you're an ex-competitor.
Yep. And
you're now coach.
Yep.
Anything about your records? You don't want to mention nothing about yourself?
Yep.
Yep. Oh my days, this is going to be terrible. If you've just tuned in, we're having a bit of a mental health moment.
Yeah. Ex-competitor, was fighting since 2005, training in Muay Thai. Originally started in Tottenham, the original KO. Well, it was the original KO gym, in Tottenham. Changed to Muay Thai Masters. Also done a lot of training in Amsterdam at Mike's gym. Fought all around the world on some big organizations in Muay Thai and kickboxing. Had some good wins, some bad losses, and lots of experience. Won a few titles, British, European, world title, and now owner of Black Diamond Gym, where we look to bring on the next generation of fighters and also help the local community through boxing and martial arts.
Perfect.
Mine's just not as amazing, you know. Well, it's fantastic. I'm amazing. Oh my God, Abdul's in the building. You get me? Ex-competitor, full-time coach, taught the Mr. Addison Gibbs himself, took him from a crab to an amazing boxer, you know.
A crab?
Yep, he had a crab style before me, and then I made him into a boxer. The YouTubers will understand that joke. And also one of the coaches at Black Diamond Gym as well. Like I help around and try to be part of the community of Black Diamond as well.
No. So both of you have come from a very similar but different pathway into coaching. First of all, I'm going to see if any of you recognise your similarities in coaching.
Well, you know, like we both went through that.
Don't do the whole we're both phenomenal stuff.
Yeah, you know, so like
familiarities within your coaching. I've seen some, and I just want to see if you've seen them.
We create diamonds. You get me? That's what we do. We create diamonds. You get me? The black ones especially. You know?
Okay, I'm going to redirect that. What's the hardest part in training?
Training or coaching?
Coaching. I should have said coaching, you're right. What's the hardest part in coaching?
Dealing with nincompoops. Dealing with mad people. Turning the madness into something.
Do you know what? You look like you're going to give me a bit more of a normal answer.
No, I'm just thinking about what's the actual hard parts. You know, it's a daily grind. When you're on it every day, it becomes not tiresome, but it does become difficult and challenging. But because it's your passion, you know, there isn't actually hard parts to it. You know, you love what you're doing. Working with different type of athletes and students is always a challenge.
Yeah.
It's one that we thrive on. So it's not difficult. It's challenging.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't so much say it's hard.
100%.
Yeah. What about the mindset of competitors? Because a lot of the times their mind goes into just that. Remember we spoke about that hard shell mentality. It's just like it's like their blinkers are on and they're just hard shell. I've got to be this hard. I'm going to say man, but obviously woman as well. And they just do as they're told. This is the training today. This is this. You've got to cut weight, and that's it. But what about the other part of who they are? Like, you know, like the human side of them, the side that they've got to now try to go home and re-engage with their families. They've got to obviously sacrifice their social life and stuff like that. So how do you deal with like a depleted mindset within fight camp training?
I feel like, to be honest, you have to wear, there's like your human face and your mask face, or your war face. When you're outside, your human face, it's your normal, I can be weak, I can be soft, I can do this, I can do that. As a fighter.
Okay,
yeah, as a fighter. Yeah. The thing is, when you walk into the training, or when you have to put on your war face, you have to put on that, no matter what difficulty comes my way, I'm going to overcome it. Yeah. And I feel like as a coach, you have to develop that side into your athlete more in the beginning. And as they start to develop it, then you have to start to teach them how to turn it off when they leave. Yeah. So when people come in, they try to be the same person that they came in with, and it doesn't work, because they used to, if something doesn't go their way, they can run away. They can quit. They can say, I don't want to do this no more. But as a fighter, you can't do that. There is no quitting. There is no giving up. You have to just keep on going. So as a coach, you want to try and develop that side of them. But sometimes people get too into that and they forget that they are human and they're not breaking their bodies. Yeah. So you have to try and develop the other side as well.
What would you say?
I think with myself, I always try and think and remember and try and instill in my students and fighters something that I learned from a coach that you also trained with as well, Dave Paquette.
Yeah.
And he always used to remind me, one of his mottos or his saying is a positive mental attitude, to always keep a positive mental attitude. And then with my coach, Arjun Vinny, his was have a professional mental attitude. So no matter what you're doing, and I always try and instill that into my fighters and students, no matter what they're doing, to always try and have a professional mindset towards what they're doing. So conduct yourself like a professional rather than like an amateur. Whereas, you're not doing what you want to do just because you feel like it. Yeah. If you know you've got certain things to do, it doesn't matter how you feel. This has to be done. If you know you've got to do your rounds of sparring, if you've got to do your runs, if you've got to do your conditioning, whatever it is, have a professional mindset towards doing it. So, how you're feeling and, getting into your own head about, I had a long day or I'm a bit tired because I trained this morning is irrelevant. If this what needs to be done, that's what's got to be done, and you got to do it to the best of your ability. And I think where we've now started to instill that into our fighters, you can see, I think with the two guests you had previously, my son Yashua and also with Dylan, those are two kids that, they started from scratch, and they didn't, you don't just naturally have that mentality. But if you see them now as athletes, they're both professionals in what they do, and that's come from instilling that into them, every day, and how they train, how they conduct themselves, how they think about themselves, what they do. And now we don't have to tell them to be in the gym or to do the extra runs or to do the work. They both now develop that mentality of, okay, I'm a professional, this is what I want, this is what I need to do to get there, and I do it regardless of how I feel. So it does work in terms of instilling that into the students, and that's what I think both of us try to do with all of our athletes.
Yeah, 100%.
So your motto is no one cares.
100%.
So do you see when at the beginning you said to me, what's the silent rounds? What's no one cares?
What's no one cares?
What you mean by no one cares? A lot of people can interpret that.
Yeah, which they do. Yeah, because I get people online, and people say to me, they interpret it differently. For me, it's not a case of, when I say that no one cares, people do care. Yeah. But when you're thinking of it individually within yourself, it's to have a mentality that no one cares, and it's not to to push everybody out, but it's just to have a mentality to myself or to the individual that I have to do it. Basically. No one cares enough to do it for me. No one's going to get in the ring and do the rounds for me. No one's going to do the Shark Tank. No one's going to do the run for me. No one's going to pick me off the floor and help me. No one's going to take those punches for me. No one cares. I have to do it, and I want this. So I want people to have that mentality within themselves, that it's a resilience mentality.
As soon as you get out of the ring, as soon as they get out of the ring, I say to every fighter that's lost a fight, how are you feeling? And some of them will cry, some of them will get angry, some of them, I say, whatever you're feeling, good. You should deserve to feel like that, because no one should feel like coming out of the ring as a loss as something good. It's a learning curve, yes, but it's not like, win some and you lose some. I always tell them, Good. Let that now be a fuel to push you further. A win tells you what you done correct. A loss tells you what you need to work on. Both of them help you to become a better fighter. So when you lose a fight, you now know, okay, I lost the fight because of my fitness. Next fight camp, you don't go crazy on your fitness, but you up your fitness. I lost that because of lack of skills. Next fight camp, you don't reduce everything else and just work on skills, but you add more into your skills. Whatever you lost, the reason why you lost is now not going to be the reason for your next fight. You should lose. Yeah. But use it as a fuel. It's a fuel. It's not something that you just forget. Now, when they come in and they start acting sad and start acting moany, I told them, look, at the end of the day, if you want to fight again, you're going to have the same result if you act the way you're acting. Or you can have a different result if you pick yourself off the floor. Pick yourself up, dust yourself off, say, okay, cool. This is what I need to work on. This is what I need to get better. Let's do this. That's the way I see it.
Nice. Daniel?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly what Abdul said there. In terms of one of the things he mentioned, was learning the lessons. And when you even if you take a win, there's still lessons that you can learn from it.
Yeah.
So, when you take a loss, the main thing is to focus on the lessons you've learned from it. It's happened for a reason, something that wasn't right in your training, something that you may have been able to adjust and do better, which you can do for next time. We had an experience on Saturday. We had two fighters, 1 win, 1 loss. And Issa, who lost his fight, was distraught, was upset, was devastated. And first of all, that is a good thing. If they put their heart and soul into their training and they really, really want to win, it's going to hurt. They're going to feel bad about it initially. It's not something that I expect them to carry on for 3-4 weeks afterwards. But I say to them, as much as they're going through all the emotions of, it was shit, it was this, it was that, I say to them, first off, take 2 days. Take 2 days for your emotions to come back down, because going through a fight is, it's a stressful, emotionally, on your nervous system, on your physical system. It's a stressful experience. So it's going to take you 2 days, at the least, to bring your energy back down, for you to actually assess it properly, maybe watch the fight back a few times, get over the initial distraught emotion of, I lost the fight, I can't believe it, or I got embarrassed, or, I got punched up and I could have done this and I should have done that. And then after those 2 days, then we can address it, because we've got a good team here between myself, Abdul, and all the other coaches here, where we can actually break down fighters and fights and work out, okay, what it was, or the reason as to why you lost. So, that we can then work on making those adjustments, what needs to be done differently, assessing it. It'd be a different thing if we didn't know why you lost. If you came out of the ring and you as the fighter and also your team couldn't answer as to why you lost, well, then you've got a problem. But while it's always a case of, okay, this is what happened, we can analyze it and go away and, work on it, there's always more that we can do. We can always improve on that. So it's never the end of the world. The other thing I always advise with the students and fighters, there's more to life than this. As much as you put everything in, there's a much bigger picture. You've got family outside, they may have kids, they've got siblings, parents, and a whole life out there as well. So, one loss isn't going to make or break your life. It's not. It's not. So there's so much more out there, especially like, for example, with Issa. He's 17. I didn't start until I was 21. So he's already 4 years ahead of me. So he's got so much time that he can actually learn the game. He can learn more about himself, learn about the fighting, and then get back in. And he was in the gym 2 days ago and was like, yeah, I'm ready to go. I want to go again. So that's fine. Now you've actually got the mindset, okay, you want to get back on it. That's good. Now we can address the things that didn't go so well for you and make it right. But once they've got that willingness to do so, then we're all good.
On a good roll. One of the big things that are obviously is recognised, for coaches, it's recognised, good coaches, not all coaches, is that I don't think a lot of people understand or appreciate that quick switch in the mind. Like you go from normal training, you win.
Who will win his fight, and he will say, "But what could I have done better?" So that what could I have done better is a positive, not a negative. So it's all depending on, is it a positive way they're reaffirming their win, or is it a negative way? And if it's a negative, then we work on that. But if it's a positive, then we use that to thrive, to push ourselves further.
Yeah. Daniel?
Yeah.
So what do you mean? Just the same thing.
No, exactly what Abdul said. You know, whether you win or lose, critiquing your fight is a good thing to a certain extent.
Yeah.
You know, so there's always going to be things you can look at and say, okay, I could have done this better, I could work on this, but don't overdo it, don't bash yourself down, and because I will then turn your mind negative or dampen your energy. So looking at the positives, don't ride on those too much, because they also still need to improve. But then looking at the things that need to be worked on, and then just having that same, once again, professional mindset of knowing, okay, if there's things that are lacking, I need to make this change, or I need to train elsewhere, or I need to take myself to an S&C coach or get a nutritionist to whatever it is, if that's issues cutting weight, and so whatever it is, have that professional mindset and then make the changes and then go through with it.
There's one thing that I respect and commend immensely on both of you, and that's the lack of selfishness. Because you get a lot of coaches that are out there that become very selfish, and they look at their fighters as you're mine and mine only. You're not allowed to train nowhere else. You're not allowed to seek advice from anywhere else. But as you just said about seeking like different parties to play, I think is that, to me, that shows the true characteristics of a great coach. And then going off of that, if there was anything that you could say that could be inspirational for young kids that want to get into the world of combat, whether it's to take them off road, whether it's to problems at home, to ease their mindset, just to channel something out, what would it be? I know it's a tough question, but
I'll say two things. Number one, I tell everybody, man, woman, child, there is no perfect fighter. Like if you look at throughout the whole history of fighting, there is not one human type that has always dominated. Yeah, there's a variety, and that's the beauty of fighting. There's always, you are the perfect fighter you can be. So whether you're short, tall, fat, skinny, whatever body type you are, you can always come in and make yourself better and be a fighter. So when people come tell me, oh, coach, I'm too skinny. No, you're perfect for your weight category.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm too short. No, you're perfect for your weight category. Or
Danny never had that problem.
Yeah. but that's the beauty of fighting. The beauty of fighting is it's everybody participate. All you got to do is make sure when you participate, you give it your all.
Nice.
Yeah. What I'd say to inspire people is, through training, you can maximize your potential. You can be the best you can be.
Yes.
In whatever aspect it is that you want to work on, or wherever it is you want to go. It doesn't even need to be in the ring. A lot of people that I say, that encourage to train for their own mental well-being and then they can take some of the lessons. So I find, like Teddy Atlas used to say, he creates life to a fight, and I get that, and I see it 100%. There's so many comparisons and things, in terms of life that you can equate to fighting. So there's so many lessons you can learn from just the training about life. You can learn all those lessons about yourself.
Yeah.
So whether you're wanting to be a fighter or just in everyday life, you can, for example, I'll give an example of just seeing what kind of person you are when you're tired, when you're angry, when you're frustrated. When you learn to deal with those emotions on that way of being, you can then take that into your everyday life, dealing with people at work, dealing with people in school. So it's something that's so beneficial for everyone in and out the ring, which is that's why I always, want everyone to try and learn, as you said, man, woman, and child, to learn boxing or martial arts, just because of the amount of lessons it shows you in life and the amount you can learn about yourself. I learned so much about myself as a person through martial arts, and I want everyone to experience that, just so they can have that level of understanding as who they are, what they're about, and then it'll help them with where they're going.
Well, I know it was the last question, but you just brought me up to one more. Sorry. What if you came across a student that started becoming so consumed in the training that it kind of took them away from who they are?
It wouldn't, in my eyes, it wouldn't. Because when you're being taught, I would say right, but when you're being taught in a positive way, it's not going to take you away from who you are. It's going to show you who you are. So once so the more you're consumed with your training, is the more you're going to be consumed with who you are as a person, and you're going to get that even quicker than someone who does it a bit now and again, a bit sporadic, not really into it. The more you consume into your training, the more you're going to find out, okay, this is who I am. Because the more you're going to be doing in the gym or in your trainings, you're going to find out more about yourself.
Yeah.
So, you
But
know.
are you talking about traits within themselves, like being able to anger manage, time manage, or are you just talking about, because I see a lot of people that can kind of lose their true identity and become consumed in the sport, and it's like if they fall short on any element, like they have to retire or take a break, or for whatever reason they're unable to train, it's like the rest of their world just falls apart.
But that for me is someone who hasn't been trained positively, because the physical side of it, you know, getting in the ring is 1% of martial arts.
Yeah.
You know, the learning about yourself is the 99%. You know, the physical aspect of martial arts is only 10% of martial arts. 90% of it is the mental side of it. So if you're being trained in the right way, in a positive way, you're going to be getting more mental training than you are physical training. So all of those lessons are going to be learned. One of the things you said, for example, is you mentioned earlier about somebody when they get into a ring, how do they deal with certain circumstances and stuff. I always feel that if you're being trained right in the preparation, for example, like when we do the hard sparring or a shark tank, I don't want any of my fighters to first experience something in the ring. I want to make sure that they've experienced it already in training, so it's nothing new what they feel in the ring or what they see in the ring or learn. So it's, they're not going to come out of there like, oh, I can't believe that happened. I can't believe what happened to me in there. Because you've already experienced it in training. You've already experienced being frustrated in training. If anyone spars with Abdul, they get it. They've been frustrated already. They've been up against a chess master in the ring who, doesn't matter where you move, there's someone, he's always ahead of you. And so they've already had to deal with that frustration or getting angry with themselves or been beat down and had to pick themselves up and be like, wow, that was hard. So when they experience it in the ring, it's not the first time. So they've already dealt with that mental side of, okay, having to accept some of their flaws, having to accept what they need to work on. So there's nothing new to them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. I'm going to say thank you both very much. Did you want to say one more thing?
I just want to add on something. A lot of times people see the shark tanks and they think that Daniel Sam is doing something egregious to people. He's actually bringing out a side of people that they never want to see. There's a side of us that there's nothing that is working. I can't believe it. I'm in this deep, dark place. And that's what happens in Shark Tank, or when you're sparring, and Daniel Sam is telling you, no, calm down. Pick yourself off the floor. Okay, just go into your guard and use your jab. And then you start to figure out, okay, actually, even though I'm in this world that is so dark and so, there's no light, actually there is a light. Actually, I can do something. Actually. And this is what helped me throughout my whole childhood. My whole childhood was dyslexic, was brought up in a foreign country, didn't speak the language. Everything was against me. Short, beautiful, I was this beautiful guy. But anyway, like all these problems were against me. And what happened is, as I started sparring, like when I got into fighting, as I started sparring and getting put in these horrible places, I started figuring out, actually, if I do this and I do that and I do this and I do that, it will actually work. Let me bring this into my real life. Or actually, if I stop just blowing up, because blowing up helps nobody, and control myself, and I started seeing results. And that's what I keep telling people. You only see this little snippet on Instagram. But if you look at the bigger picture, every one of those kids that have had the big hard shark tanks, and you see that side of them, you watch the next week, the week after that, you're watching greatness start to develop. You'll start seeing the greatness, and that's what I feel like a lot of people are missing, and a lot of coaches don't understand that side of coaching. And that's why I say I came to Black Diamond, because I saw that and I said, that's actually something phenomenal, because that's what helped me in my life. And I always tell people, you see this little video clip and you think it's the most horrendous thing, but actually it does so much for character building. And makes people into phenomenal athletes.
I feel like I need to get David Paquette on the it's gonna have to be the next call out. Because I was talking to Greg the other day and he mentioned David as well. And do you remember that time when we was doing the body shots?
David Paquette is one of my
One time
favorites.
we was doing
Yeah.
body shots. There was me, Abdul, and I can't remember who the other guy was. And we were standing down the side of the ring. And we was just body shotting. But I'm standing there, and every time, and David...
She was shitting herself.
I weren't. I was trying to break the pain. And David called me and he said, come here. And he put his leg up on the side of the ring. And he said, what on earth are you doing? I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, stop showing them that they're getting to you. Like...
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember this day.
I came back and I stood there and I was ready for it and he's hit me. And he's an egotistical little shit. He's hit me and I've just stood there. And he's like, what? And he's like really trying to amp up. And that day forward, I realised, never show you kryptonite.
Yeah.
It was a kryptonite thing.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to have to...
But then there's something you took into every day, into your life.
Yeah.
But no, it is. But now, funny enough, I've actually, my kids are on it. Like my kids don't show you kryptonite.
Yeah.
It becomes who you are.
Yeah.
Just don't show you kryptonite.
Yeah.
But sometimes it could be a flaw as well because you still need an outlet somewhere. Lucky enough, I had an outlet. Not showing you kryptonite, I wouldn't recommend to just everybody and anybody because sometimes you need to actually ask for help, right? I don't want to tell people just brave face, hide it, and don't show nothing. If you need help, you need help.
From the right people.
Yeah,
From the right people. Yeah,
that's it.
The right people, the right
Yeah,
place, right
100%.
But yeah, you're right. Well, thank you very much. Did you want something else? You just took another breath.
No.
Did you not have enough life?
No, all I was going to say is, David Paquette needs to come on.
Yeah,
you need to get David Paquette. You need to get David Paquette. And you need to get Vinny.
Yeah, Arjun Vinny. If you can get
Arjun Vinny and David Paquette.
All right. So you two are my sources, my links. You're going to get them on for me. I'll grab David. You grab Vinny. We'll do it here even. I know you won't mind a little reunion.
Yeah, happily.
I'll bring some patties or something. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
All right.
You're going to have to send this one over. I can't believe my thing just